Hi, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Wonder Snatch. Today we're going to do another dermatology and drag series, and today I'm going to talk about eczema, alright? I've got eczema in myself and I think it's quite a very common condition. I think everyone gets some sort of eczema at some point in life. So I'm going to talk about that where I turned myself into a big eczema demon, alright? And if that's something you want to see, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell for post notifications. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, got my face tapes and everything done, so I'm going to go right in. I'm going to go into brows today first. I'm going to draw on my brows, and then I'm going to go in bentonite clay, also known as Fuller's Earth. Okay, this is kind of a clay mask that I'm going to let dry on my skin and have this very nice dry skin effect. And this look is actually inspired by all these red Bettie Page demons that you see around Halloween time. So I really wanted to do one of those two, so just going to combine the two looks. Okay, I'm just going to draw on some CHIC-esque eyebrows. Okay, so eczema. The term eczema just basically means dermatitis or inflamed skin. Anyone's skin can get inflamed. It just looks red and flaky sometimes. And it has many causes as well. A lot of people are born with it. Okay, so people with like atopic dermatitis are born with very sensitive skin, very sensitive and dry skin. Most of the time, most people will just get inflammation of the skin from different things such as dust or fragrances or stuff that they're allergic to, and this is called contact dermatitis. I'm just going to set those brows first with some no color. And then I'm going to go in with my Fuller's Earth. Okay, I'm going to mix, I just bought this off Scoop, just about a few tablespoons, and I'm going to mix this with some water. Okay, so I've popped my shirt off and I mixed up some of this clay. Try to get out all the lumps, try not to waste any, and I'm using this spatula just to spread it all over my skin. Okay, so this works. First time trying this. So bentonite clay or Fuller's Earth is what they use for some sort of mud mask. It's supposed to remove toxins from your skin and draw out all sorts of crappy stuff. People have used it for this special effect makeup. Just try to go around the brows. I'm going to use my hands. Eczema can be thought of as either intrinsic or extrinsic, right? So what I mentioned earlier, like contact dermatitis, is an example of extrinsic causes. Okay, that means you are reacting to your surroundings by having skin inflammation. Okay, it could be an allergy or it could be irritant. Okay, so for example, if you wash your hands a lot because of the pandemic and you get hand eczema, that is an irritant contact dermatitis. And if you have a reaction to stuff like nickel or fragrances, it's an allergic contact dermatitis. Okay, so it's quite difficult sometimes to tell the difference between the two, and you might need what we call a patch test to tell the difference. Okay, let's try to make this smooth. The most common cause is what we call atopic dermatitis. Okay, so when someone is very, very sensitive and very sensitive to their surrounding environment. Okay, and sometimes they can get eczema just by, just by existing or just by sweating. Okay, it's starting to harden. Okay, and atopic dermatitis is most of the time is genetic. Okay, so for example, some genes that cause your skin to be extra dry or extra cracky include things like ichthyosis vulgaris, which I have. Okay, so ichthyosis vulgaris is basically a mutation in this gene called filaggrin, which causes your skin to not be able to hang on to water. Okay, and it dries easily and it cracks. And you get this thing called ichthyosis, which means fish skin. Okay, fish-like skin. And I get this on my shins. I'll throw a picture up here. Okay, and you also get hyperlinear palms, which I have too. Okay, see? My palms are really linear, and if you ever notice my knuckles, they're really wrinkly looking too, and they've been like that since I was a kid. And that's because of this condition, and that actually makes you prone to eczema. I'm just gonna wash these hands off and wait for this to dry. I've stood in front of an air conditioner for a while, and it's starting to tighten up, and you can see it's starting to crack. Okay, and when I move, it'll start to crack. And that's the effect I'm trying to go for. See? Oh, flaking off. Just like real eczema. Okay, and now I'm gonna paint myself red. Alright, I'll be using a mixture of my MEHRON red and my MAC Chroma Key. This works. And so, filaggrin isn't the only mutation that causes eczema. There are many others too, but I think a lot of them are still undiscovered. Okay, you can go over the brows a little bit, we'll darken it up later. And a lot of people who are prone to eczema when they're born, they usually start off with having eczema on the face. So babies tend to have it on the face because that's where they nuzzle a lot, that's where a lot of irritation happens. Okay, and as they grow older, the children start getting it in the flexures, right? In the elbows and the knees. That's when they start to move around and start walking more, so that these areas start to, start to crease, and that's when, the dry skin gets creased and breaks, and that's why they get eczema there. And as these people grow older, they start getting eczema elsewhere, such as the hands and the feet. Once they start to work and start to use their hands and feet a lot more, that's where they get a lot of eczema as well. Okay, and eczema, of course, has many other different forms as well. So, for example, we've mentioned like this flexural eczema. Some people get what we call discoid eczema, okay? And that's when they get little patches of very easily infected patches of eczema all over the body. That's discoid eczema. Okay, and atopic dermatitis, okay, this condition where people are very easily allergic, is also associated with other allergic conditions such as asthma and allergic rhinitis. Most of the time, these kids have eczema, asthma, and, sinusitis. And the reason for that, people have hypothesized, is due to the atopic march. Remember I told you when the skin dries and cracks really easily? That actually allows your body to be exposed to antigens in the environment, and most likely dust, okay? Dust is floating around everywhere. And when that happens, you get allergic very easily to these things. And this allergy is manifested in places like your lungs or your nose, okay? So that these guys get really, really sensitive nose, especially to dust. There are other forms of genetic conditions that can lead to very dry, flaky skin. And it's not just atopic dermatitis. Remember I told you about flagrin? But mutations in other genes causes these whole other groups of ichthyoses, okay? And these people have very dry skin throughout their life. And of course, most people, the eczema just affects a very small proportion of their body throughout their life. In some cases, it can become so severe, the eczema spreads to the entire body, so they're entirely red just like this, okay? And this is what we call erythroderma, or red skin. And these patients usually need to be treated in hospital. So that's my base more or less done. Let's just go into some contours now. I'm going to use a bit of the black. Just tone this down a little bit. So that's with water activated paints. Now I'm going to go in with powders just to contour all that up. Before I go into the rest of the contour, I'm going to use my Sunset Horizons palette to deepen up the brows. I'm starting to feel very tight. And you can see the effect I'm going for, right? This flaky crack demon. If I move my face, all the cracks come through. I mentioned earlier that atopic dermatitis is a huge genetic component, right? But it's definitely something that's happening because the incidence of atopic dermatitis is increasing throughout the years. And a lot of people are getting more allergic to the surroundings. There's this theory that excessive cleaning and excessive antiseptics have sterilized our environment so much that it's caused our immune systems to act up. And this is called the hygiene hypothesis. Okay, that in the last 50 years, the increase in antiseptics and cleaning and, making sure that your kids don't get dirty has actually weakened the immune system so much that the immune system just is reacting to any old thing. For example, dust. Because our immune systems have evolved to respond to the surroundings, if you deprive it of this stimulation at a young age, it actually starts to go haywire, and that's why it starts to react to different things such as dust and other things, and you get allergies and atopic dermatitis and autoimmune conditions. Let's see if I can still highlight a little bit with my white cream. Okay, and blend it down slowly. Okay, and now let's work on those eyes. I'm going to give myself a nice black smoky spotlight for this. Let's try using a big fluffy brush for this and using the black again. A lot of people ask whether food plays a role in atopic dermatitis, and it's a really hard question to answer. Most of the time, food allergy does not affect atopic dermatitis, but people with atopic dermatitis are at high risk of developing food allergies, mainly because of what I mentioned earlier, the atopic march, right? When you have your cracks in your skin, you actually expose yourself to antigen in the air. So for example, peanut allergies may be a result of being sensitized through the skin of all these different antigens. The other thing that food might play a role is in the microbiome. I think recently we're starting to realize that the microbiome, or the bacteria that's living in your gut and in your skin, has a role to play in your immune system as well, in training your immune system. So there might be a role of the microbiome in modulating atopic dermatitis, and that's something that's being actively explored right now. Okay, there's a smoky spotlight, bringing it around the bottom as well. I'm gonna need to try to contour a little bit. Need to get my highlights in. Oh, why don't we try doing that with some of the MEHRON? Okay, a little bit here. I've toned down the highlight a little bit with some red eyeshadow. Okay, so it's more concentrated in the middle of my face. I think I'm going to go in with lips first. Okay, and then I'm going to go and fill in all this with some gold. Okay, so for lips, I'm just going to go on the outside with some black. How to draw on this clay. Tricky thing with this clay is that I can't really blend over it, so I've got to be really precise in my placement. That's quite Bettie Page. I'm going to use this gold in the middle of my eye, the spotlight, and tap it up. Okay, so the treatment for eczema is, for one, you gotta really remove the triggering factors. Okay, so if you're allergic to dust, you gotta make sure that's all taken care of. Okay, fragrances, if you're allergic, you gotta get rid of that. And of course, moisturizing. Okay, if you moisturize your skin and prevent it from cracking like this, you'll be able to close off your access to the outside world, and that actually really helps in eczema. But you know, getting people to moisturize is really difficult. Putting some gold at the bottom too. And then I'm taking another smaller brush and blending the black into the gold. Just a little bit of black to contour the jaw. Sometimes you can't avoid dust. We need to control the eczema with topical steroids, okay, topical corticosteroids. And if it's really bad, sometimes oral steroids are needed, okay, but we try not to give oral steroids for more than once or twice a year. If not, you get a lot of complications from steroids. I'm going to use a bit of sugar pill taco and another fluffy brush. Just going to highlight this area. If someone needs oral steroids over and over again, sometimes we might need to think whether they need other medications, some systemic immunosuppression such as cyclosporin or methotrexate. And sometimes phototherapy helps as well. So, you know, UV light helps to do some immunosuppression at the level of the skin. But the trouble with that is that you need to do it twice a week, and not all dermatology centers can offer. I'm using Mikai from the Nikki Tutorials palette just to tone down the red here a little bit. You can contour that nose. I'm going to use some black, not too much. Okay, let's get some liner on. I'm going to use some of the gold pigment that I've been using. This is really good stuff. You don't need a lot of it. This dust. It's a highlight. So I'm just going to use this to speckle a bit of gold here and there. And if phototherapy and systemic immunosuppression doesn't work, there's some new medications for eczema nowadays, and these are what we call the biologics. Biological treatment where these antibodies actually try to cancel out some of the activity in the immune system. The most commonly used one now is called dupilumab, which attacks interleukin-4. Interleukin-4 is a cytokine that is associated with allergies and atopic dermatitis. It's really expensive at the moment, so it's not for everyone, okay, but it's a very promising treatment. Other medications such as the JAK inhibitors are also being used, and these have been shown to be quite useful in itch. Alright, so I think I'm almost done. I'm going to throw on a lash, maybe some lenses, and I'll be back with the finished look. And this is the finished look. Red eczema demon having generalized exfoliative dermatitis. I hope you learned something about eczema today and how to prevent it. We all get it. So avoid triggering factors such as dust and moisturize your skin every day, at least twice a day. If you don't want your teeth to fall out, you brush your teeth. If you don't want your skin to get dry, you gotta moisturize, alright? Alright, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and ring that bell for post notifications. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye! watch my other videos. I interviewed Arya Dunn here, and I turned myself into a Queen Ziggy Stardust to celebrate the crown. Bye!